Everybody, welcome. Good to see you. You don't need anything fancy for this meditation. You could sit on your couch. I'm meditating in the kitchen in the place that I'm staying because it was the most open space I had. So today we are going to come home to our breath. I get asked a lot of questions about how to meditate, about what you need to be focusing on. I have a lot of people who talk to me and say, I can't meditate, I don't meditate because I try and I can't get my mind blank no matter what I do. That's a good thing because your mind isn't blank. That's not the nature of the thinking mind. The nature of the thinking mind is to think. So we're not going to stop that. But what we can do is not be as involved in the thoughts as we usually are, as lost in the thoughts or down the rabbit hole as we usually are. And so when we can take a little bit of a step back, which is what we're going to practice today, it allows us to have that release that most of us are going to meditation for, especially now. So you can sit however you want. If you're sitting cross-legged in any way, we just want to make sure our hips are supported, so something's under our hips, and that we have a straight spine, that we can be kind of relaxed, but also straight but not rigid. So I can kind of sit into my hips, my sit bones, which are back here. I'm trying to point through my body. If we're sitting on a couch or a chair, make sure you have something supporting your back and that your feet are on the floor. You can also do this lying down as well. But today we're going to focus on a seated posture. So you can have your hands on your hips so that they don't kind of pull you forward. Whatever is supporting your shoulders can be here. I've also seen beginner meditation kind of taught like this, where this is on the front of my hips and it's supporting just my shoulders relaxing. And we just want to make sure that we kind of keep our chest up and open, but I'm not like this. I'm not in a rigid way. So let's get relaxed. We can kind of shake out the shoulders. Feel the sensation of our energy kind of dropping down. I also like to have my hand, you can have either hand over top of the other, just kind of resting in front of me. So let's take some relaxed breaths through our nose. So normal breathing. You can notice that if you're breathing fast, that you can take some deeper breaths into your belly. And just allow the breath to slow down. And while we're thinking all the thoughts in our head, we can go, the breath. And return back to this physical sensation. That's in our body, and it changes our nervous system stress response. But the act of breathing for me is also something that's beyond the body, because it's life. It's what's energizing our life force. So even if we are someone that has a hard time sometimes being in our body, which I know I have many times in my life for many different reasons, and I've lived in all different size bodies. Being a non-binary person, it wasn't always comfortable. I didn't always feel gratitude for the body I was in. Being someone that was overweight for most of my life, I had a hard time reconciling with self-hatred that I learned because of my conditioning, my social conditioning around body size and value and all this other BS. But we can make the breath our home. We're not trying to force anything. Whatever is there, whatever comes up in our mind, let it be there. And just watch how the next thought comes, and the next thought comes, and the next thought comes. And one will catch us, and we'll bring it in and say, that's for me, that's who I am, or how dare that person slight me in the past. And then we can just go, oh yeah, the breath, and let that thought go. And in this way, we're moving into the seat of our consciousness, the role of the observer. Breathing in whatever pattern feels comfortable for you, no force. If we're trying to force a slow down or force deep breaths, it's not going to feel good. And we get to the place where we're watching and feeling the rise and fall of our chest and our belly. We're watching the thoughts go by. And as we work with this, we're able to tap into this more easily. We can be sitting in our car for 5 minutes, waiting. We can be in the bathroom at a family function or when we're out with friends or on a date and we just need a second, we need a beat. We can go into the bathroom and just relax. And we really just need 5 minutes a day for this to make a difference in things like our blood pressure, in things like our nervous system and our stress response, in how acutely we feel that response in our body. This has all been documented and researched. But I think all of us right now are needing a space to remember, a space to tap into our own humanity, to tap into and remember our own source of energy, which is within us. And so as we breathe, we can take in the fact that there's nothing that is outside of us that is going to give us life. Our life is within us always, and then it moves to the outside. So whatever we're looking for to help us relax or regulate, like substances, shopping, sex, all of the things, sugar, caffeine, all the favorites. There's no shame. But if we're overindulging in those things and they move past enjoyable to being something that's a need, something that turns into an obsessive thing, something we turn to instead of focusing on ourselves and our needs, it's actually showing that we do have a need that's not being fulfilled, that we are abandoning ourselves for something else that we think will feel better. And it will in the moment. But in the long term, it won't be something that helps us actually move into a place where we do feel better and better over time. Like fitness, like walking, being able to walk for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, then being able to walk for an hour. You can get there. Notice how we're still breathing, even if we're not consciously thinking about it. And at any moment, we bring consciousness to it, and we can change our inner state just with our breath. It's like a primordial switch. When the Buddha was asked how to meditate over the whole course of his 40 years of teaching, up until he was 80, his answer was focus on the breath, watch the breath. I like to think of the breath as my companion. It's like an old friend that brings me back to myself when I start to feel lost or overwhelmed or want to curl in bed with how crazy the world is right now. The breath reminds me of change, because the breath is never the same. Each breath is different. Let's watch and see. Let's feel it. Just allow yourself to breathe. What did you notice? Some were short. Some were long and deep. They could be similar, but they're not the same. Being the observer of our breath reminds us that we can be the observer of our lives, as well as being at the same time as being in touch with ourselves. And the more we practice being present in that way, the more we're less likely to be lost in the outer world. Not to say we don't engage. We don't just stop going to work and just hang out and meditate all day, although you feel free to do that too. This is not bypassing. This is not, I'm going to lock myself in my house and I'm going to be okay because I'm just going to focus on myself. We focus on ourselves in order to be more present in the world. We engage with our inner world so that we can be more present in what we need in our own lives, so that we don't feel like we need an escape, or if we are escaping, we're able to understand what is underneath. What am I running from? What am I afraid of? What am I believing about myself right now that's bringing anger, shame, uncomfortable feelings, pride, fear? We're human beings. That's what this is. We've been told that that's not what this is, but our emotions are messengers. Our inner states are important. They're guidance. Five minutes a day. And as we practice watching the breath and feeling the breath in our body, all meditation is a coming back. It's a remembering. It's being lost in thought or an emotion or making a grocery list in your mind, like I do, and then coming back and going, oh yeah, the breath, and just releasing whatever it is that you were just involved in. In a world that profits off of our disconnection from ourselves, one of the highest levels of resistance, if not the highest level, is to reconnect. We're going to reconnect with ourselves, with the life force energy that's within us, with the divinity that's within us, to see our personal power and our strength that we were told we didn't have or that we had to earn. Some people have it and they don't. Yeah. Where's that in nature? Oh, some lions have it and some don't. Humans are so smart, we're stupid. So we're going to use the body. We're not going to use the thinking mind. We're going to watch the thinking mind with our consciousness, which is something else entirely. And I just did this because I feel like our consciousness is like, well, it's all around us, but it's behind the thinking mind. It's behind all of this. How do we know? because we are not our thoughts. We can watch our thoughts. You can watch yourself start to get upset in a situation where someone says a stupid joke. And you're like, I don't know if this is the time to say what I want to say to this person, right? You can watch that come up. And when we get good at that, we can watch ourselves start to fall into negative emotions or situations we don't want to be, or things that are overwhelming to us, and we can actually take a step back and we can detach. It's not disengagement, it's reconnecting to the self. We're just not engaged in the outer world in the same way. It's not perfect, it's never going to be, and the work is never going to be done. It's a practice. So, at the end of our practice, we're going to dedicate our effort to whatever we want to put that energy towards. So I'm a Buddhist, so I would say I dedicate this merit or this effort to the awakening of all sentient beings, to the welfare of all sentient beings. You might say to world peace. You might say to my family. You might dedicate it to a friend or someone that you know who's going through a hard time or is in a sickness. That energy goes somewhere. Your love from your heart and what you give is real. It's a real thing. And so this practice is about being with ourselves and then dedicating that effort to other beings so that we remember that we're also all connected and we're all going through this together. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you at the next one.